The Taklimakan Rally is a global stage where off-road enthusiasts exchange skills and celebrate the spirit of rallying. Totally right. Actually, talking about the top competitors, if they want to compete with the international competitors, only go abroad to join the competition. For those kind of most challenging one, there are not lots of the competitions can be joined. But right now, join the Taklimakan, you can see all the professionalism of the Chinese street racing events. We're giving Chinese drivers the chance to compete alongside international champions. I know everyone's eager to hear about the Great Wall Models racing teams. Have to say that from their first Taklimakan entry in 2006 to today, it's already 20 years. Yes, definitely. Yeah, we got the 2 championships during the last competition. It ranked 6th for the last competition and haven't been beaten until now. Have to say, the Great Wall, the Chinese brand with the longest continuous racing history and the richest experience. Yes, definitely. Actually, we're now. Please welcome Mr. Liu Yanzhang, Vice President of Great Wall Models and Event Principal. Hello, everyone. Yeah, good morning to everyone here today. Welcome all the people to today's competition. Actually, we first entered the Taklimakan in 2006. Right now, it's already 2026. It's already 10 years. What's your feeling right now? Actually, the teacher He Xin just mentioned last year, our official return to the off-road racing scene, competing in both the Taklimakan and Dunhuang Endurance Rally. Actually, we bring all the series off-road cars, high 40, Havel Mongnong, and lots of the other models joined the competition last year. Actually, in both the enthusiasm among all the competitors, the racers, and have to say, Mr. Wei also joined personally the competition and also did the market research and know all the needs of the competitors. I heard Mr. Wei want to join the competition also, but you refused him. Yes, maybe it's me, but maybe it's not. But for this year, there are lots of the different features, 3 different features: longer course, higher difficulty, over 3,000 special stages increased to 3,400 kilometers. It is a new record, over 60%. So it is a big challenge to cars, to groups, to teams, and to all the parties involved in. Yeah, and I think like this year there are lots of the different teams joined in. Yeah, there are lots of international drivers from Italy, Argentina, Spain, Uruguay. Before only 2025, only 130 entries, but this year already over 150. Actually, because of the developments of the last year, so making and involving more people join in. So there is another feature of this year competition. It's about drivers, we just mentioned. Yeah, we are very happy to have all the international competitors, drivers here. And also they have the chance to drive the most latest edition have Tank 700 to join the competition. It's really make the Taklimakan a true platform for global exchange and improving its rising prestige. Yeah, among them, all the champions, Spanish, the guy from Spanish, the Paul Navarro, Nicholas, and Rebecca, they all attended Dakar veterans before. Talking about Nicholas, they are dual championships. He won the champion in 2025. Maybe I didn't remember it clearly, but I remember like among 10 different stages, he won 9 of them, the champion. He really enjoys the great records among all the competition. Yeah, it's very rare to see the couples join in this kind of the competition. Their proposals are very romantic. Yeah, when they passed the destination of the Taklimakan Rally, he did the proposal to his wife now. And there is another very special driver, Rebecca Bussy, a female driver. She became the most youngest driver to finish the competition. And also, she is one actor. So have to say that, what do you think driving Taklimakan this kind of the competition surge in attention? Beyond distance and difficulty, participation numbers are up. Do you think because of the investments of like the company, Great Wall Motor? Actually, the increase reflects the flourishing ecosystem of Chinese motor cars. And also because of the Mr. Wei, our boss, joined personally to know more about the needs of the drivers. And also they got applause and welcomed among the drivers from all over the world. And from the data I just checked, it's already over 200 million for the off-road drivers in the world. Actually, all of the things we just mentioned, because of the ecosystem, like become much more better. So more teams join despite tougher challenges, and the public interest keeps climbing. So Great Wall has worked hard to build and promote this culture, and we'll keep going. And we even make like the Great Wall Race Day. It is really a stand attraction. And actually for cars, it is also the performance of the spirit pursuit. Actually, based on all of this, so we'll make this competition, join tens of thousands of visitors and sparking huge interest in our 20 years racing journey and technology. We actually heard from you, it's just like we're going to pursue freedom and don't want to work anymore. Only with this kind of the car, we can go to any place we want to. Yeah, but we need to find like one car could give comfort experience of driving. Actually, yeah, today we are broadcasting from the Great Wall Base Camp. Yesterday, actually, Teacher He and I walked around. It's definitely the largest manufacture camp of the event. Yes, it is over almost 5,000 square meters total. And for the factory team, it's like over 3,000 square meters, plus 1,000 square meters each for partners K-Man and Dongli. K-Man and Dongli. Actually, every car, every racing car has their own dedicated workstation. Yeah, it's mutual efforts. We provide them everything they need, everything needed for operations, coverage, and emergency response, logistics, medical sports, catering, rest areas, marketing data center. And just like K-Men, like for something they need in the rest, and we are going to teach them the knowledge about the racing cars. Actually, the barrier for joining the competition not high enough, but we need to make sure they all have the strong supporting. So we just mentioned how many people are on the supporting this year. About 200 directly supporting the race. And actually, compared to the traditional one in the supporting, there are some two main differences because we are providing the researching. We are providing researching people also for them because it can enhance data collection. So not just for competition, but for reliability testing. So all data streams back to base camp in real time, supported by a larger technical team. Yes, and it can provide much more comfortable driving experience. And actually, for all the members who work in the supporting, they are former rally drivers. So there are some medical, catering, from research and development, from Italy, France, Spain, Argentina, for all the technicians. So after they finish the competition, they will record and export the records and passing the data to our research and development department so that they can really analyze the skills of driving, of controlling the cars, so that we can just better educate it and we can teach the drivers from our teams. Actually, the catering teams is very important for such a long, durable competition. When they drive in some of deserts, Gobi, and the zone without people, the catering is the most important system. Among all of the supporting, yes, we will introduce all of those catering system to you later, detailed. Actually, besides the cars, besides the drivers, we need to take care of them 360 degrees so that they can bring their potential and bring the best performance to everyone. Actually, we just mentioned like one sentence, using the competition to improve the research and development. Actually, The best learning comes from direct competition. The best growth comes from facing challenges head on. Yeah, so that's our choice. In the meantime, we also willing to learn managing skills, driving skills from those high advanced teams. So let's go to have a look to see the cars on TE Road. So now let's go to another section. Hello everyone. I'm Jiaxing. Where I'm located now, I'm at the 2026 Taklimakan Rally start line. So right now, we are at the start line of T2. Actually, all the motorcycles have already left. So we are going to start the Great Walls T2. The Great Walls T2 category cars are still queuing. I believe lots of the people are looking forward to the competition of T2. Actually, the most eye-catching point and the most welcomed drivers is the teams of Great Wall model. Actually, the teams will start their 7,500 kilometers road from here. This is our first car launches. So we are going to invite hosts to introduce the cars. The first one, High 40T. So there are some Spanish teams. So they're driving China Tank 700 High 40. So another team, Yao Weichen. So they're driving High 40 300. Actually, in this competition, our High 40 team also will be showed here. Our Bolo with another one, they will driving High 40 700. We need to mention Paul Navarro. It is the most youngest champion in today's team. In such kind of international competition, he have already proved himself. High 14, the second 300 High 40 will be driven by Ma Hailong together with Liu Chao. The third one come from Italy, female driver Nicholas. She will drive High 40 500 together with Sergio. And the next one, Tank 700 Kemen. I believe all the people looking forward for this team. The most welcomed people, Nicholas, the champion of Taklimakan race before. The leader is Valentina. They are a couple team and won the dual champion before. I believe every people looking forward their performance. And in the team, also Liu Hongwu and Tong Zhenrong and Wang Huijun together with Huang Fengge. They will drive Tank 700 High 40. They will represent the Great Wall models to join the competition. The last one is for Great Wall Fire Cannon Dongli team. So they will drive China 3.0 T fire cannon. The driver.
我相信这是一支非常非常硬核的全中华的华人组合车队，驾驶着我们。
It is a full Chinese team, so they will drive 3.0 fire cannon to compete with all the people. So every people is very brave to join the competition. This is a start line, and also enduring the expectation of all the drivers and the people who get involved in. I wish all the people can get good grades in today's competition, and also wish you all good luck and safe along the duration. Have to say it's much more energetic right now for the atmosphere. So we are going back to teacher her. Thank you so much for introduction of the teams of competition. Actually, for T1 and T2 already about to start to drive. The cars on T2 also is queuing right now. So we are going to introduce very important car. Great Wall Tank, high 40, 1050. What is 1050 refers to? So this is a 4G 1050 hybrid heavy trunks, our own Great Wall commercial vehicles. So these cars use Hi4T and Hi4Z. So these heavy trunks run on Hi4G hybrid systems, offering external power supply, strong performance, and fuel efficiency. This is a Hi4G. So this is a technology to divide the different efficiency. 49 tons of the fuel it can load. I can't believe how much it can provide for the cars. Actually, for changing the car is easy, but for making sure a car can finish the competition, especially for this kind of the durable one, it's very important can provide the support. So this is the severe part of the service soon. So lots of the teams we just mentioned, they are using similar parts and cars. So all the parts will be provided by the Great Wall Motor. Actually, this kind of the support can decrease the risk of some small teams who would love to join the competition. For some small team, they don't need to prepare lots of the things because we provide all of them. So we aim to build a symbiotic racing ecosystem where every participant enjoy the world-class support and forging brotherhood through shared struggle. Actually, the competition is not just for show, it's to making sure every people can join the competition and show themselves safely. Actually, through the last plan, cooperated with all the people. Actually, we would love to build one system for one ecosystem for racing cars. We launched the race co-creation plan with the Dongli machinery and the Cayman suspension before, so creating a model of the joint research and departments and resource sharing. So we hope we can share this resource with the co-creation teams. So actually, because we faced this kind of the problem before, so there is one simple part, but we didn't bring it. So he spent 1,000 euros to purchase that simple parts missed. So we have to mention the supporting is very important. Yeah, actually for this kind of competition, I knew this kind of the problem also. Yeah, because just the lack of one part, they need to just buy what they need at higher price. Actually, this time, Great Wall builds passengers cars, race cars, commercial vehicles, and heavy trunks. So we have to say our support capability is complete. Just like Mr. Wei mentioned, joining the competition is just like an optional class. It is one we need to attend compulsory. Actually, the last competition we used topic enthusiasm. But we start from the enthusiasm. Because this is an authentic competition, not just one show. We must respect the rules and nature's powers to go further and steadier. So, just like we said, fairness, justice, and transparency ensure every passion is respected. Mr. Wei always mentioned that we need to improve ourselves. We need to improve the culture of the cars, racing cars. We have to speak in the competition. Yeah, we said once motorsports aren't optional for automakers, essential for building an auto powerhouse. Yeah, just like Liu Zhen just mentioned. From my perspective, we would love to use this kind of the cooperation plan to improve the development of the Chinese racing cars culture. Actually, for the competition this year is really hard. We have international cars, we have Chinese cars, we have some like the cars from some real regions. What do you think, and what's the expectations you have towards all different competitors? Yes, actually, no matter where they're from, they're all the drivers of Great Wall models. I don't mind which team is better. I think this opportunity for all the competitors join in is more important and more meaningful. They can learn from each other and improve more for the competition. So when there are more Chinese brands join the race, we can move closer to that dream. Actually, for the advantage of Chinese competitors, we know and we are familiar with all the routes, but maybe for the skills and for knowledge, we are not very clear. But for those drivers from abroad, they are well trained and high advanced skills, but they have no idea about those serious environments, so they can learn from each other. So actually, every person who dares to enter is a hero. So our goal is to grow motorsports culture and help China transition from a big automotive nation to a stronger one. So I hope we can improve the recognition of the racing cars among the Chinese people. Yes, I have to say Taklimakan is already international competition. I see like from Uruguay, from Spain, from South America, those drivers from everywhere, and even for the cooperators of the Cayman Cabas. Actually, he had a nickname, the King of Taklimakan. Actually, if he appear, show himself in a Taklimakan, all the other people can only think about the second place. But we can see him presenting here and train for all the other new drivers. It is a very rare opportunity to see all of them. Okay, so I held to the start line to cheer for our drivers. So what do you want to say towards all the drivers? So I'm also about to go to the start line. So I hope all of you, all of the race drivers, all of the cooperators came in. Dongli mechanism, I wish you can get the best grades you can do, the best performance you can do in 2026 Taklimakan Racing. Actually, everybody knows it is the most popular Taklimakan competition along the pastimes. So we hope you can all compete in these international markets and get better prize with better representation, better performance. I say, come on together.
长城汽车加油 ！OK， 再来3，中国汽车加油，好不好？好，到底是长城汽车。长城汽车再有中国汽车。好嘞，好，1、2、3。
Come on, great one model. Come on, Chinese model. Okay, see you later. See you later. Thank you so much. Actually, I feel so excited after talking to Liu. Actually, like for Taklimakan, always snow, but today, like Taklimakan or sunny days, we can expect the special occasions of the Taklimakan can perfectly end. It's actually have different feelings. Because you can see, actually last year is very hot. It's extremely hot. Like the last year, I experienced very fierce nature. It's just like natural disasters. Like because we have already been enduring the snowy days for many days already. But right now, today is sunny day. The sunscreen to protect my skin. Just a joke. But today we are happy. The good weather represents the good grace of this competition. The Mr. Liu just introduced all of the system, but we are going to see clearly, like detailed. We can see the race car support. We can go to the place between trunk and the tent area, and then we can see all the parts we provided to all the teams are all developed by ourselves. Actually, not only for our teams, but those parts are also provided to all the teams cooperated with us. Hello, Mr. Bing. Zhang Zongbing, Great Wall Models Racing Technical Operations Coordinator. Actually, Bro Bing. Actually, I really want him to show himself because Yeah, he is a heading rescue and support. Yeah, what are you like? What were you working on up there? Actually, like for all the camps you just saw and all the parts and like small things with our G2050 large trunks, all the support, I will take care all of them. The maintenance of the car. So what is the difference? Actually, the biggest difference is like more co-operators here, more co-operated racers here. So what kind, like I want to know how bigger parts you bring this year. Actually, it's already double for the quality. Like for all those most important spare parts, the upper, the lower arms, the suspension, like lower limbs, arms of the suspension, steering, gears. Like for all of those parts, we need to bring actually double compared to last competition. Engine, transmission, some of the components of the chassis are in mass produced, including ours, which has been. I can I can handle the steering gear of the tank 700. It's quite heavy. We are moving it together. I can only shot like go ahead together. So just like look at this one, the steering gear we are holding. Actually, through the test of the half a year, this gear can hold most of the very special occasions like Gobi, mountain roads, desert. So absolutely, actually no major issues at all. Know how many kilometers and hours like can hold. It's too detailed. It's too detailed. It's like according the data, but already can handle the whole competition. Just the number I think is like about maybe 6 kilometers, like 10 of thousand. Actually, we did lots of the tests, like internal reliability testing, multiple hand running in testing singers and the pilots, so on. So the program is released is particular. It's very likely the things will be mass produced. So as far as I know, like all the parts of the racing cars is quite expensive. So the reason for this is that they require higher quality, higher strength, so better performance. But we need to make sure the price also economic and reachable. So it's very hard like to balance to make both ends satisfied. So if we adopt the concept of the mass production, it like credible. We need to control not only just like for the quality but also like for the cost. So I'm actually all the people mentioned the point and the freedom. So all the people would love to like see the freedom, see the blue sky. So actually, from based on this, like you are more focused on the comfortable driving experience. But after 50 kilometers, 50 miles, no any comfortable feeling can be involved. You cannot lay down directly. So reliability is actually very important. Actually, for the drivers, they want like pay attention to the suspension system, so they will only appreciate like how good the grace it achieves. So they will never appreciate like the structure is ugly, lacking in promotional highlights code, but it is their reliable friends. It's very important. Yes, the reliable parts testing is very important. All of the performance based on the test. And you know, for the indoors test and outdoors calibration test, so therefore whether it is our participating whether it is a tank 700 racing prototype or the mass-produced tank 700 racing vehicle, quality performance all top-notch. Actually, last time I joined the Taklimakan, what those numbers refers to, I'm really curious about two 2/3 are 5 hour, it represents 4. Actually, you're so detailed and like very meticulous. Yeah, and I can explain to you. Yeah, this is mainly for our convenience. So like for our operation convenience, firing errors and finding errors are all about make its efficiency. The first number to represent T 1050, the large trunk is vehicle number 2. So number 2 train, this one is number 2. So you can see this is second, so which is the second R represent our entire carriage from bottom to top, the second row. So below that is one R, 2 R, 3 R pairs, and a horizontal row of 2 rows and 3 rows, 4 rows, 4. So above it is 3 pairs, then 4 R pairs. So that is for row, actually. It's ROW, row. And it means that, so then 72, number 72 represent counting from the top, like our truck to this position, which is 7, the 7 pair. 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs is horizontal, 6, 7 pair. This R has the same meaning at the above. Yes, quickly finding the parts you need. So you spend little time looking for something, there's no problem with that. But if you encounter with special circumstances where you need to get your tunes, yeah, we need to find it quickly. As just like last year, yeah, 10400, like in the SS2 capable, last year there was a race in the desert. Yeah, they could be driven about a few kilometers before breaking down. But it just came straight from the side, so impacts the entire ride front end at a time. So including the suspension system was scrapped, so which was completely crushed, scrapped, and the suspension system was faulty. There was no way to repair it on the truck. So our emergency support and rescue measures were taken, and then we provided the vehicle. After pulling it out after night of emergency repairs, one night after night, then the next day it was ready for the competition directly in the same status as before. Oh, this is so amazing. This is our insurance system. What did you say during? What did you say during the repair? You just mentioned the suspension was broken. You just, yeah, and the radiator is gone. Suspension broken. Radiator at the front end, the water tank, and the upper and the lower arms, both fork system, steering system, the half shaft of the steering gear, all quite damaged, including the caster angle. It's all gone. So headlights, everything actually, we need to repair it for one night only, especially like in the desert, because it's very hard to like repair a desert without any parts, like in the desert. So we like transport it back to the base camp. After you rescue it, carry out emergency repairs and also retrieve some spare parts. And after, this is a stressful job for the priest, actually, because after you're done, the driver has to test the parts whether can like still work normally and all the components are functioning properly, and whether there's any degradation in handling, performance. So everything has been done online, tested. It's necessary. I remember particularly vividly at the time, everyone thought the car couldn't continue. Then our entire maintenance were illuminated. Around 7 o'clock a.m., I saw another technician of ours, brother mom, post on his social media that it was fixed and the car could go back to racing rides. So at the moment, our heart was already relieved. Magnificent. I believe you were there when the cars was dragged out. I believe in you. You must have followed along to help it out. You drag it along with me. So what are your feelings at first sight of the cars? After the train arrives at Daying, including our technicians, and then after our maintenance supervisors has made an assessment, they say whether the cars, we can still keep those parts and we have the possibility to repair it. All the technicians, all the maintenance staff were there. They worked all night and made a whole bowl of this. And yeah, they said not being able to fix this problem is really remarkable. As I walked by, I said, "Teacher He, do you have another little secret?" I asked Brother Bing. Like, do you have? because like brother now also arrived at the scene in another entity. Yeah, if Brother Bing can reveal it, it said this year Brother Bing also came to the scene another identity logistics supervisor who started looking for him. The competition, the process, these abilities of driving the cars are all fine. There was no issues. Moreover, qualifications. We often go out of the off-road driving throughout the year. So driving racing car is also one dream combined with the complaint strategy, which is that work is utmost important. This includes ensuring the security of a competition and ensuring the event is carried out is actually more important than the competition track and racing. Combined with this is last years I did some of the work on this. After my consideration, I still have to go through all these processes and all these materials available. I'm more familiar with this, so I can take care of this. Actually, do you have any dream like you're going to attend the Taklimakan? When I come back, whether you have high expectations for me this year? If I have the opportunity or have the chance, I'd like still to go to the track and give it a try. Because I feel the performance is very good and fantastic. And when we are on the track, I want to truly experience and optimize them. I believe you can get grades. Actually, because I personally joined the competition, so I can give the best performance and data for training all the teams and preparing all the backups and parts like for this competition. Thank you so much for your sharings. See you later. See you later. Let's go continuously. Let's go continuously to the next part. After we talked with the Robin. For those engineers who can attend the Taklimakan competition, not only one, not only two, there are lots of the engineers who can just drive the cars to join the competition by themselves also. And actually for the competition, we need to prepare a lot. Did lots of the preparation before join the competition, because like take something for example, if like for June I need to attend, we cannot just arrive that May. Yes, so actually it costs like several months. They cannot see their families. You can see for some professionalism, they need to attend the professional competition. They will control their diet and their figure and do the intensive training for the competitions, like keep their figure. So just like for some sweet drinks, they cannot drink. They can only drink water. And also even like for the calorie, it's very strict. It's not just that I say I can join tomorrow and I'm going to prepare well today. So like just for the people who just mentioned, we have like a very professional support team. So full spectrum support from the catering to medical care. So we're going to welcome the head, Wu Zongtao, Bro Tao, our support team. So you can introduce yourself to everyone. So I am the head of the support team. I can see you are quite busy because it's almost like the time to eat. So there are 200 people here. Actually, I think like maybe more than 200. Yes, indefinitely, it's already over 500 people here. So we need to prepare the menu for every day. And there are lots of different countries, different regions. We need to prepare different things. So we can only provide the basic ones. Like we make sure everyone can eat full. And we also prepare lots of the testes. It is really demand high culinary skill plus sourcing ingredients in such harsh conditions. how you manage. So we prepare some fruits, coffee, shrimps, lots of things, not only for the vegetables but also for the meats, beef, of course. There are enough. Some chicken, some seafood, curry beef, seafood egg custards, and the other is like broccoli. So we are planning includes both Chinese and Western cuisine. As there are so many foreign drivers, we must not only ensure their dietary needs for Western foods, but also enable them to enjoy the authentic Chinese cuisine. So let's maybe start with like right now. This has made people start drilling with the love. So regarding of the Western food you mentioned, what's our specialist? We currently have hamburgers, like pasta Italian. If we source them, we also include, and even beef steaks that we can obtain and consume. For Chinese cuisine, there are many ingredients involved, including pork, mutton, beef, chicken, duck, fish, shrimp, and a series of the other items. We basically have the same menu, same menu every day with each meal, and then we'll have to do different like menus per day, which are not repeated for several consecutive days because we are in a desert facing a lacking of the foods. So facing chickens, buttocks, fish and pigs. I think fish is a bit more difficult to find, right? So shrimp is even harder to buy. So because of a campsite, it's on the Urumqi line, Urumqi line today. So maybe it's a bit more remote. We all want the largest wholesale market in Urumqi yesterday morning to purchase ingredients for today's meal. So for a catering service like this, 500 people, I believe your job will be very hard. So we are here just for you to get a certain of the times. We have 13 people here, and we are driving them into several groups, like for ensuring breakfast, the second group ensure lunch, and the third for dinner, since we provide meals like for 24 hours a day. As long as someone comes to eat, we have to reserve a buffet style meal from 0 a.m. to like 0 to another day. We cover the entire area. So then I think we can order now. So ask for anything you like. I won't mind trying a food set. And then there's another thing actually which I think is good. So it should be said that the tests have been relatively tough in the past, and that's what I'm saying. Both in our own company and our situation taking care, we have higher requirements because of this time. Like both of the drivers and for the teams, like technicians come from different like countries, regions with different tests and styles, but also the skills of our chefs are quite high. As I mentioned just now, if we come together this time, there will be a total 6 chefs, including a total covering Chinese cuisine, Western cuisine, and some delicacies. At the reception center, we arrange everything accordingly. Western and Chinese cuisine include some snacks, some dim sum, some. We cover all aspects of cooking for these 66 people, which can fully meet all our dining needs. I mentioned sometimes, like some like meat, shrimp, high requirements, high-end requests. So this is not easy. I think like from tomorrow it will be very difficult to get shrimp tomorrow because officially enter the desert. Speaking of which, really hard to get. It is a routine operation. So the so-called routine operation means that everyone is inside the camp, but after the real players start competing, there will be a high-intensity physical exterior. Because in high temperature driving, the driver has finished their body fluids, they maybe lose 2 kilogram to 3 kilogram or even 4 kilogram. So in such situations, they need to continue to replenish the energy. So this is some you maybe manage. That is what we're talking about with roadblocks. Probably about 6 types. The first one is that we must maintain our energy supply, which includes the Elite Edition energy gel, which we are providing to get the drivers, and also for vitamins, like some parrot soup. We call the carrot juice actually from Xinjiang, which has relatively high vitamin content. So it's high quality protein, which is what we prepare the form of the beef and chicken breast. The rest is carbohydrates. This is definitely essential. As for carbohydrates, we have prepared bread, sandwiches, cakes, and so on. Finally, as we just mentioned, there's water, because just drinking mineral water alone won't do. We need electrolytes. So now I'm leading the way for all the racers by preparing 3 types of the electrolyte water. You can choose from them like yourself, so take them all the way. The first one is from Baoju. The singer can choose according to his needs whether he wants to drink something or get something else, and there may be many flavors, and such as a pineapple, grapefruit, and so on and more. You can freely choose. It's quite picky. Actually, it's not enough to replenish the energy. So we actually have some other items abroad. If the driver has new needs, actually we can choose from our inventory. Secondly, we have 2 purchasing vehicles that are always on standby and constantly purchasing items on the road. So it's one of is already in my possession. So this is I call him, so he immediately purchase it back like for replenishment. So 5-star service. So when our first stop in Urumqi, generally speaking, has a good facilities, and but when we really start entering places like Maya, the freshness of the ingredients and their temperatures are really important. So have you considered this? A freezing trunk actually prepared by us, if on the second row in Luopu, so we still can process the ingredients like 4 hours. Ensure the meals are ready within 4 hours at all times. This is how we use this vehicle. This is the purpose of our trunk. All ingredients can be put in and can be protected well. Carefully arranged according to the needs, according to this itinerary. So the long journey of the 8,000 kilometers, moreover, like we need to make 7 steps. It's basically every 2 or 3 days we have to transfer camps. The concept is that in the morning our train departs from this current depot. We immediately need to pack up all our supplies in the depot and set off a long journey to the next station. Because of this time, due to extremely long distance and the fact that they're in my memory when passing, were no gas station along the way, you have to detour for nearly 1,000 hours. I'm hungry. I'm gonna get the meal. Like I get there with food supplies, so now we'll just get ready. If this journey is long, then tonight after I served everybody's meals, I immediately stored and pick up my car. Then I'll head straight, arrive at the campsite. We all have arranged everything for us. What shall we have like for breakfast? You're leaving for dinner. My breakfast is ready now, and 2 options. First of all, we have to contact some local restaurants and customize some breakfast items what we need. This is first option. Like the second option is to keep some biscuits, bread, milk, sausage on hand. I've actually put them in my cars right now. I just need to grab them whenever I need them and distribute them and serve them to everyone. And they can be eaten directly without preparation. Moreover, if our fleet has a vehicle, it will allow us along to the Great Britain. If there are no human settlements on the roads, like if there is a dinner requirements, take them out of the car, distribute them to everyone first, so that everyone from the car distribute them to everyone. I can't really ask for like anything more. Actually, like for all the questions, I just rest like to you. Our broadband can solve all my needs. Like even for some tricky problems, tricky questions, addressing and the catering segments by taking into account some of the for the catering sector. We benchmark against last year catering issues, including a Dakar International event in 2025. We did a comprehensive whole, sorted out all of the problems. After several months of continuous correction and refinements, we went through this process to achieve the current status we are right now. You can see how chicken trunks next to the freeze trunk and multifunctional one. So it has all the necessary appliances for both Chinese and Western cuisines, and can basically within 10 minutes, my camp setup speed is really fast. So I can walk, and this is what we have, including ours. If dining inside the tent, we also have some smart devices, including some digital fast scanning machines and our electronic menu for dishes. I can operate it directly on my phone and upload them without having to make any changes, because we have a lot of so many foreign drivers who may not understand Chinese. So direct provide translation between Chinese and English for them. I can like later talk more because it make me super hungry. So don't forget my shrimp. Don't forget my Chinese cuisine when I feel hungry. See you later. Actually, during the interview with Mr. Bao, yes, the troops march without food, but the provisions go first. When we say that our vehicle will arrive 1 day in advance, it used to be like this. Everyone rally races and slept in tents. Of course, the most common food is, I can't say that the only thing. Give me this, which is most commonly consumed item, which is compressed biscuits. Have you ever tried compressed biscuits? So the third one is a West. So it really too much, and so whether it's mental or physical conditions improve, reaching the better level in all aspects. That's right. So as we mentioned, it is our complete set of accessory support areas of the services in our dining areas. So the cooperation team has been disbanded, and the concept of cooperation drivers is actually very important. Like put forward by present way, is about reducing cost and making sure other people can participate in rally and off-road events to experience the joy of road driving. Today, we are also special requested to in charge of the cooperation racing team, Mr. Jiang. Hello, I'm the Jiang Zeyun from K-Man. I'm very happy to be here as the camp of the Great Wall model. I heard like this is the first time to join the competition. Can you introduce your team to everyone? Yes, this is the first time came in, participate in the Taklimakan competition. So racing cars can truly off-road, and the hardcore off-road vehicle can participate in the island circulation rally. This time we have 3 cars. 2 are tanks with a top speed of 700 Heifer T1, and the one is 3.0 liter cannon. So are we hardcore enough? So you are armed with the Valiant team. So with 2 tanks and 1 artillery pieces. So this is arena should be described as extremely imposing. Speaking of which, your company's main products actually there for such events. Suspension system. Actually, everybody may be already heard, like for K-Man, this brand, because for this brand, it is as the selling of the suspension system in China. Only these cosmetic brands in China have entered international top-level competitors. Yes, let me introduce it. K-Man was founded by me. At the beginning of the establishment, it's only produced racing products. So K-Man has evolved from racing shocks absorbed to civilian applications. In recent years, have been active in American Bahamas events, Barbershop 2.50, Barbara 400, Barbara 500, 1000, as well as the American Hellcats. So, including our European Dakar Rally, our European budget and Silk Road Rally. Additionally, there were the small events like Ring of the Taurus Rally. Therefore, over the past 50 to 60 years, we have been refining our products, hoping to achieve something. Yes, actually, our dream is to hope like everybody can join the competition together. So, maybe if you are not familiar with the Bajia Rally, the Bajia 1000 is actually the most famous and perhaps even the only off-road rally in North America. They really traverse from South California, which is very challenging. The second point that we mentioned is that is uneven. The Badger 1000 doesn't stop from any reason at all, so the pressure on the reliability of the vehicle components is very high. Preparing a car is a very difficult task. So teacher who is you're very professional overrating. Maybe you give to me. So regarding the Clement's first participation in today's competition, what are your feelings? What kind of support has been provided to me, or have? So I think I really want to know. Not only has the Great Wall provided me with such a wonderful platform, but it has also given me such a fantastic off-road vehicle. So I think it's also provide more, like, provide everyone with a platform where they can enjoy life and go further. After we came here this time, I felt the overall atmosphere was of service, especially our dishes backup preparation that we mentioned just now. I was worried about eating outside by the drivers could lead to health problems, so we decided to provide we prepare our own meals and serve them daily, possibly catering for at least 200, actually it's 500 more. It's very scary. Such a situation, how you can serve for so many people. It's really stressful. Because for Great Wall model this year, all the drivers, international drivers, no matter they all come from abroad, they have high requirements on the suspension system. I did a lot of work on communication with them, communicate extensively every day, supporting us for the next track segment, today's segment, because tuning for today's leg is the same as the next leg. So everything must on data-driven approaches, which is foundation. And this time we have come here mostly. This time we came manning to work with our team, our Great Wall team, our foreign engineers, and our Cayman team to collect data together. The data from the suspension system include our temperature control system, including our acceleration, the quiescent, and so on. So, which is too specialized a topic, it is also preparation for something. Next is the upcoming Dakar Rally, we'll make a Chinese brand, automatic brand stand out and make its debuts at the world's market. The world's most brutal rally with over 8,000 kilometers of checkpoints. So I think the Great Wall is particularly similar to its temperament, which is often characterized by doing a lot but talking less. For companies that are committed to making products, I also very agree with the Great Wall concept. We hope that this upcoming collaboration will enable Chinese engineers to grow faster and become more proficient in our fields. International integration enables our Chinese brands to go global more quickly, thus gaining more recognition. That's why, under such requirements, I feel my pressure. I hope the Cayman can support the China's automotive industry. In addition, my work with the Great Wall, there's another hot topic that makes up people's hair stand. So they also made a loop tour around a Tower of a Terror site, who is collaborating with Cayman also. I think this is breakthrough in Chinese technology because we have signed 30-year strategic cooperation agreements with Cayman. Why? Because they were very happy to work with us and they supported our research and development of new products. So they want us can keep working together until we are old and gray. So I'm really happy about this too, and possibly because it was a lot of hard work, but we are able to get Cayman through the last competition. It took a lot of effort on our part, but we are able to get Cayman into our best and in the last moment by clearing these levels. Through the frequent communication and observation, and by involving them in this event, I believe it is very helpful for the improvements of our entire automotive industry. Everybody loved the red color. So why we use this red color? Because the flag of our China also, it's also red. I want to bring the Cayman red, Chinese red, to the world. No matter whether they care red or not, they like it or not, I would love to bring it to the world. Actually, they are blue. They are blue, but their suspension is red. Yes, I want everyone to experience one feeling, a chance to feel this roll of the iron giant on the trunk. Allows everyone to get to know Cayman, understand our Cayman technology, endorse them with energy. And we also hope that through this revalidation of this rally competition today, we can bring users to experience the same genuine dedication as our second generation Middle East version of Cayman. Build products from the users. Standing the user perspective to create the products is as a pragmatic as Great Wall. Let's do it together. I wish the Cayman cooperative co-created team success in this year competition. Even though it's the first time to participate, and I hope you can achieve the good grades. I look forward to CMG's continued success. So we are all here we came here with a firm word. One word is enough. We are going to prepare well. I want to share an inner thought. We are not chasing anything else. No matter what's the results, what kind of trophies and what kind of rankings, but rather what we are truly striving for is for the data, and use this data to support us, and we can develop more products that are beneficial and higher quality based on those data. Yeah, this is from competition to qualifying produced cars. There is a very famous saying, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. So if we can win on Sunday, we can get high volumes on Monday. Actually, we have really proved our value and capability in Sunday's competition. So that's like we can get the users' recognition and the sales better on Monday. I believe in this concept. Although it's not popular, I still believe in, because after all, it's a very important, it's not just a tool, it's actually benefits for both of us. So more important, beside the pleasure factor, driving also involves safety. Thank you so much, Mr. Jiang. Actually, I prepared lots of the questions to ask Mr. Jiang why you choose the Great Wall motto to cooperate together. And I want to ask how much preparation you did for this competition. But after after he introduced everything, the culture, I think those questions I don't need to ask because I have already know. So next team, we are going to invite the Great Wall Fire Cannon. So let's welcome Dong Liting, Liang Guowei, Teacher Liang. Hello everyone. I am the leader of Dong Liting. The name of your team actually is very powerful. Actually, how many fires you prepared? Actually, I prepared 6. I prepared 6 fires. So what kind of the fires you prepare? How about do a simple introduction for 6 cannons? So 3.0 cannons and 3 are Great Walls 2.0 cannons. What is a 3? 3 refers to 3.0 liters. I heard that your entire team's cars are very stylish and very individualist, invisible superheroes, folk masters, and their strength is no less than that the professional drivers. we cannot say that they are good, but very experienced and like flattered. Actually, you can brief introduce like the cars and the car drivers. Actually, 3 of our 3.0 liters Canon, their drivers are our driver, because I remember while the drivers he was champion and round up of our 2.0 group from the last year event. Their full name can check. He's very famous for participating in competitors. It's well known that he should be one of the better drivers in the desert now. We are so modest. So what makes these 2 drivers so distinctive? They are so unique. It is that like in order to participate in this kind of the competition, whether it is a shallow sand or chicken coop pit and so on. So they are long for going out to join the competition. They train every day and their home is here. Their home is the hinterland of the Badem Jara Desert, which means that is about 100 kilometers from their hometown to Badem Jara. They train every day and they have a lot of camels. And in terms of the desert capability controls, desert driving skills, they usually run on sand. For example, with the old vehicles we used to drive, they have to carry supplies, carry several tons of supplies in the vehicles, and they're engaging this job. That's amazing. And for the entire Dongli fleet as a corporation, it actually lies the win-win points between us for the cooperation fleet between Great One and Dongli. Where does mutual support come from? Actually, cooperating teams and OEMs, which means we are directly interacting with the original manufacturers. They have incorporated all the technical advancements from this event into our latest updates, and as a result, their costs have been further reduced. It's time to collect the money regarding logistics, for example, regarding the cost of suppliers. And just joking, he said that talking about the money can hurt relationship, but actually you might be bring less spare parts, right? And then for your catering, you can share with it everyone. It's very convenient. On the other hand, as we know, Dongli Machinery is very famous manufacturer for spare parts. So what unique techniques do you use for your cannons? We have brought along our Aventus ANOVA shock absorbers this time. Our ANOVA absorbers are like produced by Hebe Anoda, a wholly owned subsidiary of Dongli Machinery. So our shock absorber is doing a pretty good job of keeping us to move slightly backwards. So, like, thank you for coming to talk about your another absorber. It has a technology that have been patented in Europe and Japan called timely adaptive technology. So it's about control system. So the piston rod of the piston rod has many small full holes on it. So just like a flute, it's not constant damping system, it's a various damping system. So there should be hydraulic fluids inside. So back force, and it causes 2 problems. The first is that it generates lots of heat, especially under high-speed motion. Therefore, heat dissipation in big issue. We have an oil circulation system exceeds 110 degrees Celsius. So in semi-professional knowledge provides shock observation for our 4 vehicles that have already been tested at least a years. Tower and Dunnan. So we have achieved 0 oil leaks and 0 failures throughout the entire journey. So what are your expectations for this year? This year's expectations, of course, champagne. So can you share your ranking from last year? Last year, champion in Group T2/1. there are championship teams, so you want to get good grade this year. It means like defending your title successfully. This is very fortunate to us, but why was it so late here? Why it is said to be lucky? Luck is a part of the strength. Luck is indeed a part of strength. So this year, quite confident about our shock absorption, about our cars, especially about the cannons. We're quite confident about the Great Wall Rally, and this year presents a bigger challenge compared to last year. This year's stage, because this year's stage are longer, and there are also devil stages. Exactly, your comment refers to as marathon stages. The test for cars and shock absorbers is indeed very high. So have you made corresponding full preparations? Our car is basically the same as last year, and we have great confidence in the quality of Great Wall, models, shock absorption. Moreover, and what I'm particularly concerned about is why they choose to cooperate with Great Wall model. This is very important because we have a connection with it. Last year from Huan Tower to Dongnan, we use the same cannons as those on the Great Wall. Indeed, the Great Wall vehicles are currently being tested in our long-distance rally trials. The quality of the cars is definitely top-notch. The reliability is sufficient. It is alright because we are talking about 3 major components all made the Great Wall. We are just modifying the shock absorbers and the cooling system. So the car is in state of the mass production vehicles, which means it's still part of production line. The 3 major components include the engine, transmission, and 3 major components of the steering system. These are all related to the drive train. This is all relevant, important considerations. Therefore, what kind of the car you end up getting in mass production is actually quite difficult. It's quite different also. Of course, you also include lightweighting, installing safety and roll bars, and which are mandatory for computers. These are rules and requirements of the event. So under the condition of ensuring safety, so we are really hope you can achieve great grades in the competition. To promote this off-road culture and let more people understand off-road racing, which is a niche group now, but it is a bit of relatively is gradually expanding, which become more evident. So like Tank 300 entire off-road is not only expanded but also several times. I'll give you another promotion of Liangzi and Jingjing. Do you know there's a very popular short video about climbing a slope in the desert online? That's our story, right? For our team's plan, that is what our plans has planned. And you're so modest. Actually, who drove the car that your team is Ogawa. So all the nickname. So after talking with you all, actually I can feel we can. I actually notice that this time, whether it is our Dongli factory or any other K-man, including Great Wall itself, so we also hope to carry forward this event, and we would love to promote this culture of this off-road culture. We want everyone can join together and experience it. We must promote this off-road culture. Normally, like with few of us, basically in the desert, with temperatures like this, over 40 degrees Celsius like this, we also operate here. There are quite a few Great Wall vehicles of various types. So in places like Tianpao, our Great Wall cars are quite formidable now. In the past, only those V8 cars dare to venture into these areas, like American muscles cars, right? So our 2.0 ordinary, where does it fire? We just mentioned the name called Nissan Pot or Nissan Pot. That's right. Its name. It went like a plus coal, where it found a particularly large pot, which is now equivalent to the place of the desert of roads, raising as long as you come out of this pot. The vehicle head is about 160 meters, right about 160 meters. So this is shocking to me, 116 meters, although we all call it slope in Bahrain. It's actually just mountains. Thank you so much, Teacher Liang. Because I hope that in the future we can keep our live broadcast going every day. I hope that in the future, we can continue seeing the rest of this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See you later. Later. The next part, actually, I have one idea. For all the people on the live room, maybe not very familiar with the cars or the competition. So maybe they don't know what is a durable level is and which is endurable race. Can you share with us? Because there is a lot of knowledge and skills that we have shared, and there are lots of knowledge and techniques that we have. So what is a T1? What is a T2? Like, can you introduce a more detailed? And what is the difference between them? What does it include? What does pilot mean to us? So what circumstances is the maximum penalty time given? But to be honest, I have to interrupt you. If I'm not professional about this, just a bit, I only know a little about, so I brought him. I brought like one professional, teacher Fei, here to cooperate and to talk to you because he often cooperates with us. Talking about this point, I cannot join for this kind of the professional introduction of the competition. I couldn't participate. Speaking of which, teacher Fei must have been involved in rallies for many years, right? The rally cross country rally. So you two will have to go ahead and give the presentation later because we have been talking for a while. So there will be about 20 more cars on the platform before departures, like today. So we can move some chairs here to sit together to discuss. So because I really don't know much about that, I can only be here to accompany with you, keep an eye on the things and not really understand them very well. But just now, I also get a list of participants of today's competition from the Chinese Automobile and Motorcycle Federation. I'm going to stand in the middle so I can hear both of you. So that's it. That's what I would love to introduce to you first time this year's 2026 Telecom Rally China Tower Dash. So this year, Taklimakan International Rally. This year, after yesterday's administrative and technical vehicle inspection, we have received a total of 138 entries from around the world. Automobile grow, then there are 14 motorcycles in the motorcycle group. This year's event saw a total mileage was 8,000 kilometers, of which nearly 3,400 kilometers before. So the preparation of desert sections reaches 60%. Moreover, compared to last year, where there was 2,100 kilometers, so have to speak like over 1,000 more increased. So from the birth of the 2005 tour of the China Rally to today, this year's competition can be said to the desert stages. Such an annual race schedule design. Speaking of rally, there are actually two main distinctions. One is well-known WRC, World Rally Championship, is the highest level event of the rally circuit worldwide. For example, both the Dakar Rally and Tour of the China are referred to as A to B rallies, which start from one point. The long-distance race pursuit to another point may involve various design and stages, but WRC race is to pit stop, where all teams arrives as a base. Subsequently, he designs the race circuits around them. Generate the circuits are quite short, so basically within 3 days, over a week or 5 days, one can complete the course. But the biggest difference between WRC and Dakar, and also between the tour of Thailand, actually is a richer terrain, diverse terrain. So it is very classical. Very classical. It's very classical event. So there are some of gravel roads like the rally in Saudi near, or the rally in the sections in the UK, like the Wales Rally and the asphalt roads in Spain, which have a more varied road condition. But his challenge is different because when we are circling the tower, it may be that the distance is longer, the desert conditions are more complex. So actually, what teachers shared earlier gestured about WRC, or even our current FIA event with WR2C cross-country rally championship involves cross-country rally. I actually think that for audience, biggest difference lies into the types of vehicles used for cross-country rallies. Usually it's an off-road cars, and the one used in WRC is based on Toyota Yaris, modified from the sedan. In terms of the vehicle usage, there is indeed a significant difference. As for the Tour de Sus, we can see that in some stages, the structure is actually the same as that of the Dakar Rally. The first part is what they call the liaison stage, which is essentially the driving section. So for example, after open ceremony today in Danying, we left Danying and headed towards the actual starting point of the competition. I remember there are about 12 kilometers to back up to like another 16 or 19 kilometers back to the finish line today. In fact, it will be a super race that starts in the afternoon following the course arrangement after everybody has watched this start ceremony. Super short track. Actually, it's not too short for a race around the tower either. After all, a special 23 kilometers. Today, we are calling it qualifying racing. It's quite similar to Formula 1 because it will determine SS1. As you see, sometimes you'll find that our operation in SS, SSE, or SSF, for example, today's ranking event is called SSS, which stands for Super Special Stage. The special stage, which is actually the competitive part, require all drivers to go full throttle and strive to run in the fattest sections. The driving shoot doesn't require speed, but it does require two things. First, you must abide by traffic rules. The second is you need to be able to arrive within a limited time. This is a requirement for driving rules, especially special case. There is another aspect. This year's rally do mount like for nearly 3,400 kilometers of special stages. I think the most people will only regard today's qualifying race as a warm-up drive. As for many experts, especially those in the T1 plus category, being scan ranging on SS1 might not be the best choice. That's true. In fact, for non-distance endurance race, it's not necessarily a good thing if you start first. So we can see that in many years of Dakar Rally competition, some top teams would do something like this. Yes, they say, okay, my next stage is very difficult. Whether it is navigation that's challenging on the gravel roads within the stages, they deliberately slow down their performance on this particular section so that they don't want to be the champion of that stage. They come out later and then may achieve better results with the treatments. I prepare an interview role outside because indeed now when I'm talking to you, we are directly facing the sun, and it's quite obvious that people can open their eyes. So let's go. Let's went inside and sit down together for a moment to talk, because the sun is too shine. It's too hot like there, so we can sit inside it. It's much more convenient and facilitates me taking notes. So teacher Fei, which rally has left the deepest impression on you? If you are talking about international ones, I think it was Dakar Rally in 2008, because that year was affected by some political reasons. We have already arrived this. We temporarily heard about the cancellation while in Europe. So it is like the investment that our great world models yesterday. So you invested so much in preparing the racing team. You like invest so much in preparing the team, and the funds are all in place. But you, when you choose a race segment and without and haven't even run an endurance race before, at the same time, 2008 was also a very special year. Not only because we all hosted the Beijing Olympics before the years of Olympics, during the cross-country rally through the East. these special 10 points of the 2008. I believe many friends still fresh in their memories have watched the movie. Now there is already the third installment, which is Drive Fast and Live Dangerously. Of course, I think this comedy film, but if you really look at it from the perspective of racing enthusiasts, especially in the first part, you'll find that a tribute film, because that's actually, which is actually playing, because it actually contains a lot of contents that pays homage to the efforts and the hardships to the older racing drivers. I need to clarify something to everyone. The so-called political factors were mainly because of the Dakar Rally started in Europe, crossed the Mediterranean into Morocco, then went north through Morocco and south to Mauritania. After entering Mauritania, one truly enters the Sahara Desert. However, at the time, it was required that Mauritania must provide sufficient safety guarantee for the entire economy. Mauritania says, sorry, I can't do it, so I couldn't guarantee the safety of all teams and drivers. In this situation, it was difficult to conduct the race because of the overall environment in Mauritania at that time was not particularly good. I cannot say more. I think for the Dakar Rally, the real challenge is actually what as teacher He just said, which is in the Sahara Desert of Africa. That is why when you take an international flight over this continent, often see the English word Dakar. Yes, it is actually just a place. That's why when you fly across this continent on an international flight, you often see the English word Dakar. It's actually a place name, especially if you fly to Europe, you see English word also an airplane map. That's right. So Dakar is actually the capital of the Senegal. So at first, the event was called Paris-Dakar Rally. Later, because the starting point was no longer from Paris, so sometimes starts from the other cities in Europe, Spanish cities, so it is simply called the Dakar Rally. Since 2009, due to some unstable factors there, Dakar has been moved to South America and started in Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina. This is not only increases investment for teams, but also for our media. As I remember when I followed the tobacco sponsor team to the rest, the airfare alone cost more than 100,000 Chinese yuan, not including the official registration fee or journalist with the Dakar ASO, which was 8,500 euros at the time. So this calculation shows the journalist cost to report. The cost is nearly 300,000 Chinese yuan. It was actually Chinese racing drivers who got inspired by foreign races and thus started our Tour of China events. The difference between the Tour of China and Dakar lies in that the challenges are actually more difficult than those in Dakar. I previously discussed with the Hong Yi, who said that they are actually more challenging than those in Dakar because the entire Badem Jara Desert has very diverse flows and changes. You must see storms on the side while rolling through the desert. So generally for rally ride drivers, you might encounter larger storms on the Gobi roads. Throughout the entire Taklimakan Desert, Taklimakan Desert, there is a section where you suddenly come across rocks. Moreover, there is also so-called Fat Trench within the Tour de France, which is also one desert like fine powder in China. Our drivers generally refer to it as floating soil. Indeed, during the Tour de France rally in previous years, I reached the stage at that time one of our working vehicles was not an off-road vehicle but a business car. People get off and stepped on that loose soil. They felt like they were walking on the sponge. It was laborious. That's because we knew that there's desert like the Taklimakan deserts there, as well as places like Loop. So I think the competition is not only challenge to the car drivers, also opportunity for us to revere nature even more. This cross-country rally from A to B is origin dates back to the founder of Dakar, Sambin. In fact, in 1917, while he was walking through the desert, he got lost. He ran into the desert and couldn't find her, but when she saw him, he said that he had seen the most magnificent sight in his life. He said he wanted to share his scenery with everyone. So this event was created, and then next, to be honest, when we were kids, teacher Fei was probably didn't have the conditions and going luxury, so it took thousands of or just 100 hours just to travel one place to another. by train. But now we do have these conditions. We have cars. And my most immediate feeling is that before we could only learn about the latest developments of the events through CCTV or Star Sports, where our co-teachers used to be, including Robin, who was your partner back then, Mr. Max, you all learned from about this through TV back those years. One thing is for sure, it allows everyone to learn about racing within a fixed schedule, fixed time frame, whether it's Formula One. Now that our conditions are right, much more favorable. So everybody has self-media smartphone. Just when you watch a live broadcast today, you don't need a fixed time period. You just need to open the platform that you can see latest information about the events. I think this is a sense of happiness, a progress in technology, and at the times, yeah, that's right. The most important thing is buying a car. What makes buying a car even more important is experience and participation in off-road activities. If your mood is higher, you can participate in rally races. We can further reduce costs, and like we have co-creation teams. We can further reduce costs and attract more people who love off-roads. Yeah, we have been talking for a long time. We started this kind of race, which may have attracted more people who want to have the opportunity to participate. I would like to participate. Yeah, for example, like why you keep talking T1 group, T2 group, T2, T2, T3, which we haven't explained to everyone. All right, so okay, I'm going to do for everyone here a simple popular science note. In fact, under the framework of the white paper off-road rally events organized by Chinese Automobile and the Motorcycle Sports Federation, which allows the T1, T2, T3, T4, and T5. Yes, the T1 group usually refers to professional touring teams. Of course, there is also T1 Plus, which refers wireless tuning, including T1.1, which refers to a traditional tuning with certain limitations. This time, the T2 category has become the highlight of the entire event because it is based on mass production. That is to say, for model available on the market, only the races has been made safer by adding anti-roll cars, but the powertrain of the entire vehicle has not been modified. T2 group is first divided to T2.8, which refers to our traditional energy sources. Since last year, the China Motorcycle and Automobile Association has introduced a T2 point, commonly known as the hybrid system. T2.3, which is based on our creation efforts. This includes mass-produced cars from clubs that have not yet received manufacturer certification, which have been also joined the competition for the championship. These 42 cars can be said to have dominated the entire T2 field, accounting for nearly one-third of the entire. So it is quite a massive group, as mentioned earlier about T2 and T1. The difference between T3 and T4, represented by all-terrain vehicles like the Polaris, Camparan lies in that T3 has undergone modifications. Similarly, T4 is also produced on mass scale based on its original designs for T5 group. As we saw during this tower tour, including the Dakar in the past, the well-known Russian chemist team, including our domestic T5 series, is also divided to T5.1, T5.2 based on production and modification. This is currently the category in the off-road rally event organized by the Chinese Automobile and the Motorcycle Sports Federation. Of course, I would like to add the current situation in international rally championships represented by Dakar. The name of categories has changed. For instance, in the T1 category, we really refer to off-road touring group as a T1 U2 teammate. Then, in terms of the second group, is no longer used, so we call the stock. So in our World Championship results, people actually don't see it. Currently, we are still refining and use it. Old terms. Yes, for the third group, it's challenging. In this category, we have many foreign champions in the Great World Distance. When looking at their resumes, I think everybody should be able to distinguish from the information I just mentioned. Those who have won championships in the T3 challenger category are considered group champions. Additionally, let me add something that teacher Fei just mentioned. First, so-called tuning group, you can understand it as this car. I don't need to refer to any other restriction. I'm here just for race. I'm here to design the car to win the championship in the competition. This is a racing car, specially built for competitions. As for the second group, which refers as for the second group, which refers to mass production, on the other hand, there are certain requirements for production volume and sales. Just now, Teacher He and Teacher Black was talking about the T2 group and saw particularly interesting questions in the library classroom. It was about how to bring the strict standards to the competition into our daily lives. Is actually a reflection of our mass production cars are meant to do when participating in more demanding events. In fact, many friends may not know, for example, many of the features in our ordinary sedans today didn't exist before, and we borrow from racing cars. For example, do you think that the seat belt in cars that everyone uses every day? No, it's safety. It's not safety feature, I guess. Not like, what about the rear view mirror? So in the early, at first, the cars didn't have rear view mirrors. Why were there rear view mirrors in the first place? It was because during the race in Italy, the driver wanted to know who was chasing him behind, so he tied a mirror to his car so that he could see. Later, this was immediately replicated by these automakers at the time. So you should know that many things actually come from competitors. From off-road racing is even more straightforward, because only after going through this testing can you know where your strengths and reliability are. Just like when we introduced the spare parts earlier, you can see that it's mass-produced transmission system. So this mass-produced transmission system can maintain its stability even in extremely high temperature, high pressure environments, as well as in highly bumpy conditions. Therefore, when used in mass-produced vehicles, it bumps to significantly enhance safety. In the desert, after long-term competition, if I encounter a broke axle, my team will immediately analyze what caused it, whether it was due to the sufficient strength or something else that hit it. Then we conduct research and development to make up for it, so as to better fix our design flaws and prevent more mass-produced users from encountering this problem again. It's very important that in many international competitions, this is a requirement that all data must be transmitted back in case of accidents or situations. These are all these unexpected collisions where data come from various aspects is transmitted back to the event organizers. The event organizers then share this information with manufacturers, enabling them to further enhance the safety measures. Therefore, there are people working behind the scenes on all these matters. Therefore, the cars we are using today are actually products that countless procedures. Yes, just as the Great Wall models has always advocated for beauty and past achievements. So last year, when I remember being in Doom, General Manager Wei came to this base camp. He was not only a driver but also visited many of these T1 things. At the same time, after watching many of our domestic events that are currently still monopolized the foreign investment present Wei, also mentioning his hope to reduce the cost and entry barriers for Chinese off-road rally racing. So this is actually the original source, the original feeling. This time we can see that the latest version of the Tank 700 has made its way to the tour of a Highland Rally. Not only our manufacturers teams, but also complaints with the 700 configuration. We know that the new Type T, Hyper T model, which is 700 models in number, it has gone through 2 weeks of competition. We are also testing some of the products to show to our customers. This will provide a better development space when everyone makes a choice about the Tank 700 in the future. This data and experiences come from the competition field. Indeed, I didn't have the opportunity to introduce them in detail just now. We are locating right now. We are sitting actually this camp. It is like in case of sandstorms or windy and raining weather, and we use a backup studio for live streaming. However, we actually have many more attempts where it is called data analysis center. That's where we store the data and transfer the data from our semi-axle sections to for further analysis. This data will ultimately be used for product competitors. be used by mass production team to participate in competition. So as to apply it to our daily car gear operations, the greatest value of the mass production lies precisely here. After passing the test under such harsh conditions through mass production, if it can prove that my product is good, excellent, reliable, then ordinary people can use it. It will not have any problems at all. So this is the guarantee of product quality. Why do we keep saying that these car products are different like from the other products? For example, a bottle of water, the quality of this water is relatively more intuitive, not something that can be taken lightly. But for a vehicle, it involves safety issues, speed issues, reliability of collisions, so on. Therefore, the safety measures your car must be ensured. It cannot suddenly break down. For instance, if a car suddenly breaks down on the road, such problems, this can cause very dangerous as you are driving and lead to problems. So before the live course, I learned a little trivial with the broader scene. Last year when I started connecting to rally races and tour de suits, I often hear the many drivers discussing with their navigators whether they have eaten at certain points or not, and what difference are between different points where we eat. So this is because our documentation of road rallies is still based on FIA rules, and you can actually see in our route book that there are some waypoints with WPM markers in between each stage. At that stage, there are usually about 30 checkpoints for the distance of nearly 300 kilometers. Because if you look at the race route and don't go for checkpoints, there might be a very fast shortcut in the middle. So then, why are these checkpoints set up? It is to allow our racers to complete the race according to our established routes. If you miss a checkpoint or something like that, if you don't eat your meat, if there is a deviation, you can have a significant impact on your grades. Missing even 1 point usually result in a 15 minutes penalty time. So typically, because the M system we use is very precise. Just now I was chatting with the EMB technical director from the Sinopec here. So came over 20 people. They are here ensure drivers' rest is fair and just during the rest. There's coordination between the drivers and the navigators. It's not just to read the road book, but there's also GPS. This EMB is also very crucial to ensure your performance, as in past years we encounter narrow river channels like those at the first stop of this year's championship, such as the Dongchuan mudslide. It made it difficult for overtaking behind, but we know this time is an endurance really in entering the desert. So based on the entire tracks of the car ahead has become less accurate, because once you go wrong with the front car, you will go wrong with the following. So it is essential to rely on the navigator's coordination with our EMB route book and the use of entire course waypoints. This is also what makes off-road rally racing so attractive. Let me add one more bit for everyone. For the race from A to B, if there's no constraints on routes or short routes, so you can run freely and choose shortest route. So as teacher Fan mentioned, this waypoint is necessary condition that constrains all drivers to travel along the unified route. It's different because it's very simple. We need to see what CP points lined up against each other. Sometimes there was CP1 and CP2 points, which meant there were several points. It's more complicated. We already have all kinds of the electronic devices, and think called waypoints is different. Waypoints have different attributes. For example, everyone has that there is an F on the route map, but which stands for safety waypoints. So what is the difference between safety waypoint and other waypoints? For example, the detection range of the safety waypoints is 1 kilometer. That is okay. When you specify a safety waypoint of 1 kilometer, the system will activate at this point. Then you need to pass through. If I'm not maybe mistaken, the set point should be 30 meters. Very precise. So within a race segment, as teacher He-Xin mentioned it earlier, there are also some settings for CP points, including that between 2 race segments and within 1 segment, there may be some sections passing through roads, village roads, which we observe as a speed limiter area. However, once you drive out of the point A and pass through the reach point B, There will be a CP point setting. Usually, the reference will stamp a seal on your journey, and that means if you need to actually touch it, which implies that some points in the middle requires real contact, and there are also some points you must pass through. But if you don't pass it, you will be penalized within a 15-minute time penalty. I just remembered, and there's another one which is M point. The road books shows it's an M, which is called mask where points the point is hidden, and you have to find it. The range is very small. It generally only starts when you get very close. Another point is that teacher Fei also mentioned that there might be more than 30 checkpoints along the track, and that you must pass these checkpoints in the order. You can jump, you can turn around. To make up for it, both of these points require vote. So, sometimes in competitions, we often see helicopters with smelling cars encircled at one point. In fact, this is normal situation after entering the desert. So this year this is also a new rule added to this air cushioning system regulation event. Due to the desert stages, for example, in the Bading Jaran Desert, some vehicles get stuck below, but the following cars didn't notice and piled on top, which need issues. So this year, all tracks must equipped with 3-meter high flagpole and a signal flag, so making sure you can see it immediately. Because sometimes the driver in front may be performing maintenance or assistance. If the following car cannot avoid, it may cause some racing accidents. Our CCM use greater humanization of the rule, and is emphasized on the safety of the drivers. Moreover, I think it's very good, especially with the teacher Fei just showing. In addition, there are safety buttons on all racing cars, which are warning buttons. And last year, we learned from that last year, 3 colors, red, green, yellow, represent different meanings. Red means emergency fault with this car, right? Yellow means this is a fault nearby. Green means there is no problem as usual. So this is how it generally works. So there was also paper book where you can tear off the last page to get a green OK symbol, which was usually clipped to the front or real windshield. But on the other hand, if there is a cross with white background on like the other side, it indicates that there have been casualties. In the case where rescuing people, we need to contact the medical helicopter of the organizing commitment. So this is also in bold diamond. So from A to point B, in fact, rescue is very important matter. Once you notice that there is a problem with a vehicle ahead, most drivers will stop immediately because this is indeed what we call for one, another for all. This is also very important manifestation of racing cars. So now the rules even require that if an emergency occurs ahead, the first vehicle that must stop and stabilize it. So I think such an enforcement actually provides more assurance. So we often, during the competition, especially when teams throw each other long, which is allowed by rules. But if you are a support vehicle for the team, not a non-competition vehicle, I also have one concern. Last year, I often heard the term maximum valve timing and maximum fuel supply. In fact, throughout the entire event process, however, the organization committee will also set a maximum time limit based on this schedule. For example, if you do not complete the competition today, we will look at the 2 scenarios based on the scores. In the first scenario, you have already completed half the race, and it is the final stage, and it was towed away by the team support vehicle, which is the maximum time limit, but at the same time, there is a closing time for the international competitors. So if you hit this closing time and the rest is over that point, then the closing time will be applied. For example, it's 6 hours and you use the external force to complete the rest without reaching the deadline. Maybe 100 cases enter, 100 clubs, 100 hours. When we reach 100 hours, like choose criteria for judgment, the maximum, and you enter what we call 100 clubs session, especially signifies the end of your competition. So maximum section exists. The concept of marathon finish time is similar. I give you a time, and within this time frame, you must be able to reach it. The endpoint is correct. Then there are some events where, for example, in the Dakar Rally, there are marathon stages. Then so-called marathon stages have no finish time limit. As long as you can arrive the next departure point the next morning, this stage is extremely challenging and tough. Some drivers after suffering the lineup crash or at a loss. He happened to be a marathon course, so he dug a day's worth of dog sand all night to get his car out and drive there. So there was no rest. As soon as he entered the lake, he had to keep running because it was open. This was a marathon lake, and he didn't have access to support team inside. But riders can help each other. Why do we say that at this year's press conference for the Hainan, there were reports about it, but we know due to the absence of this event this year, in many competitive sports, so high risk for the safety controllability of this event, we have temporarily canceled the marathon event this year. However, I believe in the future, as a Tour of China aligns with international events and marathon events, will one day reinstate coming. Hope everyone can coming together to actually experience. It's very tough to endure, like to be a marathon course. In all the Dakar rallies, if you can preserve through the marathon stages, that also already, that is your ability and the strength. So everyone must bring their own packed lunches because there are no chefs, of course, for cooking meals. Moreover, so the sand dunes are so deep that you can cry when digging them up. Speaking of the meals, there is an issue that has always been a concern for me. Is it the case for that's the vast majority of the racers throughout the day's racing, aside from carrying a water bottle? If I'm particularly thirsty and drink a little water, is that because of the race cold? As a result, they tend to eat relatively less to avoid wasting their time. Overall, I think this is because, especially for the motorcycle team, they set off very early every day. Perhaps their management of physical fitness is more meticulous about how much to eat, but definitely eating the freshest food. Unlike teacher He, who often pays attention to the detail, to the dial of the Formula One and drivers, teacher He also conducted research in this area. I remember that you have done a lot of work on this. In fact, the principles are similar between top rally drivers and the Formula One drivers. They calculate their calorie intake, but during the race, especially the motorcycle riders mentioned by teacher Fei just now. In fact, motorcycle riders were among the first to start riding, so they had to carry this kind of food with them. Moreover, for motorcycle riders, eating while running is actually quite a test of skills. In addition, for some races, they actually prepare this food. However, mainly professional drivers, they have better physical reserves. Therefore, during the race, they try to minimize these factors that affects their concentration. So eating less is one of the most core issues after our daily competitors, our daily competitions, especially when entering desert stages or in normal times. If you eat too much, drink too much, going to bathroom can be quite a challenge. At 6 o'clock, I'm really curious about like how to go to the bathroom, how it works, because it's really logic. Because like Taklimakan is also the largest desert in China, so temperature is very high. In fact, plus the racing suit and the fireproof cotton suits after rest, drivers off-road, the drivers takes off is also similar. They don't need to go through like aerodynamic test. And actually, the teams will prepare them like some fruits, some fairy snacks, and the teams after the meeting. So actually, like when during the competition, it's highly competitive. Like during the highly competitive state of race, I think this need might be slightly reduced. I've also encountered some drivers who, if you get sick of from not adapting to the local dial, there's really nothing you can do. You have to stop, which also delays your progress because stopping a car basically takes about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay, actually we're going to start the car.
现在可以看到的就是
Let's have a check.
已经进入了我们这个第二组的这个发车状态。
This is the cars from T2.
哎，辛苦导播老师，现在可以帮我们切一个双屏哈，别光咱们看，大家也可以一起。
We can enjoy together.
哦，切到了。好的。其实今年我们还有点紧张，这是我们的。
Actually, I'm so nervous because just watch the screen. These are the cars from our Great Wall Moto. Let's quickly introduce this driver. Whether it is possible to check the sequence of our drivers. The first one is Nicholas. The first one is Nicholas. Cabrios is very professional and experienced. Actually, for Caviglioso, he is very experienced. He has strong capability to drive. He is super modest, and this is the first time for him to join the Chinese competition and also first time to come to China. But we can't put into words in this. This driver is incredible experience in Dakar Rally. Has not only completed in cars but also in the motorcycle category for many years. Because we know that whether it is a Mr. Dakar, like Stefan Peter Hessen, they have all had experience of dual combat. So many of the top drivers who later achieved brilliant results and championships in racing started out as motorcycle riders, especially Spanish racers, for example, the well-known from Spanish racers Marcomo and Nani Romo, and in the end, ultimately, these are all within the automotive group, as well as Stephen Pitts, and so that you just mentioned, this Peter Hansen is involved in motorcycle racing, and we have someone closer to completed in the Dakar race. Yeah, who has completed in the Dakar motorcycle race for 10 editions, along with Zhang Ming. They may have quite a lot of interaction and communication with us. I believe we can able to see their competitive presence. And then the second one actually is for our 2026 champion for Malo.
能量饮料团队签下来，大家都非常清楚我在说什么。
He also signed a contract with one of the most famous energetic drink here. And then the next one. Actually, for Malo, he worked as leader, the guide before. I should say this year, maybe his breakout year. If we are talking about impulsivity, it can't really be called impulse. Maybe can say impetus, bit more stronger. So these two are him and his navigator. They usually live in Barcelona, and their life here is also very full of the passion of a Spaniard. They also went there a couple of days. The third car is 253. Is our, even though already 47 years old, but he also very experienced in training, coaching, operations, and many other aspects. He also trained many young drivers. In the early days, he actually participated in many competitions. including many editors of the Dakar. Sometimes we say that, which is a part of being champion. Some people may lack of just a bit of luck, so-called fast. There is no gold in one's fate. But it's okay, even though they haven't won the gold medal. However, the mentality of all champagne and their stability are precisely crucial. Very important keys in Group T2 category. Moreover, he was teammate of Marcus. So he was a champion in the Spanish motorcycle group with achieved many great results over the years. So I think about it, he would become the most reliable partners for Marcus because the motorcycles also have details. For instance, sometimes during races, if Marcus encounters some problems, there is nothing Ferris no, he need to take off his spare part and give them to him. He has a kind of requirement. If during the competition of our Tour de Thailand, if my driver is currently in good physical condition or something, I'm unable to drive the car, can I still take the lead? Yes, you can. In terms of a technical and tactical coordination with the team, we can usually see a team that's have four foreign riders, right? But according to the rules of the China Automobile Association, a team can only have one overseas rider participating in competitions. So they also had 3 riders this time representing different teams under Great Wall models. So Foundation's Italian number 25, Rebecca. Rebecca is a postgraduate degree.
意大利的长城汽车的推荐之下呢，她也是成为了这次来到中国作战的女选手。在她的个人社交媒体上分享的时候呢 ，Lucy 也说这个感到非常的意外，但是她也对这次中国之行环塔之争充满了期待。
现在应该是256了。
Right now is 256.
去年大家一直让她关紧车门，别救了。
姚卫也是这次长城咱们官方车队阵容当中啊，唯一在就是去年和今年都驾驶了坦克品牌出战的唯一的一个车手。
姚队真的实力也是非常强，而且是
Actually,
在整个越野项当中非常受尊敬的。
he is truly capable and moreover is highly respected among all the instruments. So because we just mentioned that he's always there, the most important thing for him. And last year, during our conversation, I remember many people told him not to save anyone, just shut down the car door. Because of the encouragement. Yeah, many people say this is because of his professional circles. Men say that it's because of his encouragement with the help of his collectivity that they gradually started participating in official races.
那当时姚队救援的方式是亲自上去把那台车给开了出来，这也就是体现了他这种救援的一个精神。
现在就是今天何老师聊了很多遍的尼桑，我们的257号车手了。
其实我非常的期待啊，因为据说现在咱们国内的这种民间的拉力赛是非常非常的火爆，而里面也涌现了很多的高手。虽然他们并不为更多的人熟知，但是他们的实力是非常强的，其中就包括尼桑。
因为有一个就是地域的一个挑战嘛，有一个尼桑锅，就是以
More people are familiar with them. The stage is very great, including Nisha, because there is a challenge called his descent, and one of these nations is named after him. When I introduced it just now, the size of Nissa's nation was over 100 meters. So this has also become a pretty good venue for testing the modification performance of the various models. It is really remarkable that can be scrapped. We are able to brush out more than 100 meters from this mud pit. Now you can see that our 257 and 258. The next one is our number 258 vehicle, which we mentioned. Keep talking why they appear.
人出身啊。实际上我觉得呢，巴兰吉林沙漠跟环塔可能还有一些不同。
So I'm very good at desert stages because my home is located in the heart of desert. Similarly, Intan also comes from pastoral background. In fact, I think there are some differences between the Banja Babin Desert and Jingning and Taklimakan. The desert scenery is quite different because as the teacher He just mentioned earlier, there is a peak in a desert called Desert Everest within it, which is very high.
然后你看我们的258马上下场，其实接下来的这个车手我不是很熟悉了，驾驶的是我们的259号车，就是我们的火炮的。
Actually, I'm not very familiar with the driver of the next car, which is our number 259. Our artillery vehicle, our team member Ni Xiaowen has a good personal relationship with me, because since 2024, when he participated in local competitions in Xinjiang, he is a consultant from Heilongjiang. Every time he comes to competitors, the logistics cost is as high as 30,000 RMB, which he has to bear himself. He has always been driving the Great Wall's fire cannon model, so that's also because of accumulation over the past 2 years. And this time it was chosen by our co-creation project. Just before he started driving, I joked with him and said, finally, he has transitioned from an individual business owner to a regular employee. At least in terms of a spare parts, the cost is no longer borne by the individual. He also expressed full expectations for the results of this tower challenge because he has extensive experience driving and testing artillery vehicles, as well as excellent control over image. Indeed, what I'm thinking when we're talking about how many our veterans who participate in endurance races, there are long-distance endurance events. Besides driving skills, what is tested more is your mindset, as well as which stage you are ultimately aiming to compete for in the race segment. I'm looking for a stable champion for a certain stage, and on the other hand, this is also because compared to other events such as road races and rallies, and threshold is actually higher. So for example, if you need a venue and want to participate in this event, you need to have a sufficiently long distance and complex road conditions. Most off-road rally are relatively so in places with dense urban populations, it can be a bit more difficult for you to participate, so there are relatively fewer events. So right now, it is our number 260, Liu Hongwu is the driver. The owner, Liu Hongwu, who was just here, was the owner of the live broadcast room. Mr. Jiang is a colleague of ours. Liu Hongwu actually started his career as a navigator. In fact, I've seen very few of Liu Hongwu's matches in the past 2 years because Command has been making a lot of strategic moves this past 2 years. This time, they have also become an official shock absorber supplier for Great Wall models. So this time, they are also providing 2 units. The 700 model is participating in the competition, which can be considered one of the largest teams within the co-created project. So Command overall strength this time is still. We are well prepared. Yes, particularly, they brought the latest models to the competition venues around the tower. The same is true for the Command team from Russia, which also uses Command products. So then next up, we are going to visit our car number 261. This car, the number 261 car from our co-created team.
相比于这个 T1 组T2 组的车手，我们可以看到这次不管说是4个外籍车组，因为他们过去都是在专业的这个比赛当中去征战，但是这次来到了这个中国来跑这个 T2，因为 T2 组和 T1 组，我想最大的一个区别是 你的发车顺位比较靠后。
对，
你每天可能进到赛道的时候，前边的赛道
压
的环境也乱七八
糟
糟了。对于就是习惯了在前边发车的一些车手来说，他的一种心态的一个考验，包括整个技战术节奏的一个把控，都非常关键。这也是训练一个车手心态，我觉得最好的一个方式。那刚才你提到李小文，我专门问了他这个问题。你知道他跟我说，平时为了准备这种T2组的比赛，他是怎么去训练的吗？他以前不钓鱼的，从去年开始
稳心态钓鱼，
对，钓鱼了。
哎，这是一个招。
对，因为钓鱼是特别考验你的一个心态
耐心的。
现在上场的是我们的这个262号车，也就是我们的这个马海龙。
马海龙是第一次达喀尔拉力赛中国分站赛的全场冠军，也是非常年轻的一名宁夏的车手。这次来新疆之前啊，我跟海龙说，好多年没见了。那这次非常高兴你能够穿上长城汽车厂商车队的战袍来参加比赛，因为海龙过去他在T1组里边是非常有实力的一个年轻车手，他还有一个舅舅叫金建云，他们都是宁夏的。金老呢现在已经是不跑比赛了，但是呢他在后边一直对海龙是非常的支持，所以这次的比赛我们其实刚才聊到那个话题，你过去在T1组里边取得过非常好的成绩，尤其是全场冠军，那现在你来到T2，你的这种节奏控车的能力是否会有一个新的转变？我们这次也会非常关注马海龙的一个表现。
其实，在之前最开始，我的理解是，可能我们有很多T1的这个组别的车手来去跑T2组别。我一开始会觉得，是不是更轻车熟路了，更简单了？其实刚才听二位讲完，我发现并不是这个状态。
是的，有的时候就是一个适应的问题。那就像刚才费老师说的，如果我始终是习惯一出来就领先，然后每个赛段赢你几秒、几分钟这种，他长期驾驶的这种习惯下来之后，你让他去跑T2，他看到前面的车辙，他就非常闹心。他如果要是跟前车接近了之后，扬尘他就更闹心，他会克制不住的说我就要超车，哪怕这个位置可能是一个很危险的超车位，但是他无法控制自己，他就要去超越，就容易出事。
明白。现在上场呢，其实算是我们整个不管是厂商队也好，还是共创车队也好的最后的一辆我们的车了，一共12辆嘛。263号，也就是我们的张建峰所驾驶的。
建峰呢，这个从就是10年前就开始跑T2的组别，包括他效力过很多的这个品牌。那对于他和马海龙相比，他对于T2组的一个比赛的节奏，包括整个的赛事的一个规则、心态都非常熟。那他的年龄呢也不小了，所以在整个把控上面，我觉得他和领航员之间是非常有经验的。其实说到这儿啊，最后咱们长城的一台车也通过了。这次比赛，很多人我相信对于咱们这次车队在环塔拉力赛都抱有非常高的一个期待，甚至就是大福老师昨天在晚餐的时候说能不能打一个14-0。我觉得，其实我个人的观点啊，我觉得这场比赛我们其实，更多的是需要去锻炼，因为这次我们看到有外籍的这个团队，长城汽车在北京车展，魏总已经亲自宣布了2027年达喀尔拉力赛的一个参赛计划。那环塔也好，包括后边的摩洛哥，或者说是其他的比赛，都会是为达喀尔做准备的一次拉练。那在这样的一个情况之下，不管说是坦克700车型，还是咱们的车手、咱们的技术团队，都需要一定的时间去磨合。因为世界上有很多的品牌，尤其是新款车型来征战这个越野拉力赛的时候，它是需要时间去积累这个数据的。所以在成绩方面，我们觉得就是说更多的是要去关注咱们品牌后边的一些。
Actually, we need to emphasize and focus the culture.
运动的一个推动，我想魏总既然宣布了，
Actually, as Mr. Wei just mentioned,
是有一个持续性的一个投入的。
I think they will do the continuous investments on this kind of the racing car.
关注咱们的一个成长和研发，我想远远要比成绩重要的多。
是
Like focusing on the investment
另外一个角度也
is
会发现一个很大的不同。
much more important than
看达喀尔拉力赛，大家最关注
the performance than the results of the race.
都在其实是改装组当中的那些高性能的车。那么甚至于像有一些车
High performance vehicles under modification and assembly, the high performance cars in the GT series and even some of the vehicles among our car owners have actually undergone significant internal adjustments and changes. However, during this year rally as the Hengqiao circuit, the real highlight actually lies in Group T2, as it features. The real highlights was actually in Group T2, as it features more mass-produced cars from complaints. So what surprised me personally was that the changes were not substantial. They were just the adjustment to the suspension system to meet road conditions. And there are even 22 Great Wall models amongst 47 cars in Group 2. So it is enough to show that Great Wall holds a position for over 60% in off-road. So in competition, therefore, during competitors, teacher face spoke quite conservatively. For our future preparations, I tend to be more direct. I just want to be the champion. Can we say that is whether it's a Hyper D or Hyper Z? It has also gone through. That has already gone through the test of last year rally. That's the Great Wall and Dunhuang endurance race last year, including when I was talking about them with this foreign driver earlier today. During this test drive in Shanshan, he also left a very deep impression on our hyper's differential system. I also asked him the terrain like Taklimakan Desert because after all sections like Yangsan and some large stages in Kola have very high sand. Where would you choose to go there? So yes, one aspect of vehicles, especially hybrid systems, which now include an electric motor components, heat dissipation requirements for the entire vehicle are even higher. Coupled with this year rest stages, which are more difficult than last year, so this year actually tested a lot about reliability to a great extent. The first thing is reliability. The first thing, as we mentioned before by Brother Xian and teacher Fev mentioned, as well as our coach Fev. So it is a test for our entire drive team, including our vehicles. In fact, we do have plans. To be honest, it's about challenging our Dakar last year. It is also a test for our entire team, including our technicians. I know that most of our Dakar drivers comes from European best maintenance terms about abroad. But if you're going to compare our cars, it's definitely our own technicians who understand, who know best how to match it up with top international technicians for those stages. And as we just mentioned earlier, that super long distance devil stages and so on are actually a training and a testing ground for our entire team. As especially this time, I saw many of our foreign Dakar race track. They are all familiar faces. I believe their experience in dealing with long distance off-road rallies, including our foreign technicians director Amanda Yarodem, who has previously leading whether it is Antilla, but also many famous drivers who has achieved remarkable championships in Dakar. In the Donghua endurance race, he was very lonely at the time of the Donghua Rally because he only had one translator by his side. This time, he was finally able to gather his troops. I believe that his experience and role will begin to be officially demonstrated starting with this year. So we imagine if we go to the Dakar Rally next year, what I most hope for this is that I'm interested. I would most want able to see Brother Tao on the racetrack. That way we can eat together, right? And it's a very important point for me talking about going to Dakar Rally and considering these directions. So, as well as our drive, I can ask your advice. Because you know, in terms of information dissemination as well as a driver's experience, I think what I want to say is we have important point. Can we come together and reveal Great Wall models? That's right. And we have slogan. Let's sit together. Hooray for our dreams accelerating towards our dreams with Great Wall models. So it already ends. See you next time. 好了。
With more love, we nurture those we hold dear, setting them free.